1. How Mr. Darcy offended Elizabeth Bennet. In the early chapters of Pride and Prejudice, the Bennet family, consisting of Mr. and Mrs. Bennet and their 5 unmarried daughters, are all aflutter with the news of a wealthy bachelor, Mr. Bingley, moving into the neighborhood. In the society of the time, marriage was a crucial means for women to secure their social and economic status, and the arrival of an eligible bachelor like Mr. Bingley was a significant event. The excitement reaches a fever pitch when Mr. Bingley attends a local ball, where he is immediately smitten with the eldest Bennet daughter, Jane. This attraction is a promising development for the Bennet family, as a marriage between Jane and Mr. Bingley could secure their social standing and financial future. However, the ball is also the setting for a less auspicious encounter. Mr. Bingley's friend, Mr. Darcy, a wealthy and seemingly proud man, refuses to dance with Elizabeth Bennet, the second eldest daughter. His refusal is not a simple matter of not feeling like dancing. Instead, he dismisses Elizabeth as not being attractive enough to tempt him. This public slight is a direct hit to Elizabeth's pride and sets the stage for their contentious relationship. Elizabeth, who is known for her quick wit and lively mind, takes Mr. Darcy's refusal as a personal affront. His dismissive comment not only offends her but also shapes her perception of him as a proud and arrogant man. This incident marks the beginning of their contentious relationship, which is characterized by a series of misunderstandings and misjudgments. The title of the novel, Pride and Prejudice, aptly describes the dynamics of Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy's relationship. Elizabeth's pride is wounded by Mr. Darcy's initial slight, and she becomes prejudiced against him, viewing his actions through the lens of this first negative impression. Similarly, Mr. Darcy's pride in his social status and his prejudice against those of lower status, like the Bennets, lead him to dismiss Elizabeth initially. In conclusion, Mr. Darcy offends Elizabeth Bennet by refusing to dance with her and publicly dismissing her as not attractive enough. This incident not only offends Elizabeth but also shapes her perception of Mr. Darcy and sets the stage for their contentious relationship. It is a pivotal moment that encapsulates the themes of Pride and Prejudice that run throughout the novel. Point 2. Darcy's interest in Bingley's dilemma, a tale of social status. In the world of Pride and Prejudice, the heart often finds itself at odds with societal expectations. This is particularly evident in the experiences of 2 key characters, Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley. Their romantic interests, Elizabeth Bennet and Jane Bennet respectively, are not considered suitable matches due to their lower social status. This conflict between personal feelings and societal norms forms the crux of their narratives. Mr. Darcy, a wealthy and high-ranking individual, initially dismisses Elizabeth Bennet as tolerable but not handsome enough to tempt me. However, as he gets to know her, he finds himself drawn to her wit, intelligence, and vivacity. Despite his growing affection, Elizabeth remains indifferent to him, largely due to his apparent arrogance and pride. This dynamic sets the stage for a complex relationship, where Darcy must reconcile his feelings for Elizabeth with his initial prejudice against her social standing. On the other hand, Mr. Bingley is instantly smitten with Jane Bennet's beauty and sweetness. However, his sisters, Caroline and Louisa, disapprove of Jane due to her family's lower social status. Bingley finds himself torn between his genuine affection for Jane and his sisters' insistence on the importance of marrying within their social class. This dilemma underscores the weight of societal expectations and the role they play in personal decisions. The ball at Netherfield serves as a microcosm of these conflicts. It is here that Darcy's interest in Elizabeth becomes apparent, despite his initial dismissal of her. Similarly, Bingley's attraction to Jane is evident even as his sisters express their disapproval. The ball not only brings these characters and their conflicting interests together but also propels the narrative forward. The importance of social status is further emphasized by Bingley's sisters' disapproval of Jane. Their concern is not with Jane's character, which is universally admired, but with her family's lack of wealth and social standing. This underscores how social status can influence personal relationships and decisions, often superseding personal feelings. Throughout Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen explores the tension between personal feelings and societal norms. Whether it's Darcy grappling with his growing affection for Elizabeth or Bingley wrestling with his sister's disapproval of Jane, the characters are constantly navigating the complex interplay of heart and status. In conclusion, Pride and Prejudice offers a nuanced exploration of the conflict between personal feelings and social status. Through the experiences of Darcy and Bingley, Austen highlights the challenges of navigating societal expectations in pursuit of personal happiness. Despite being written over 2 centuries ago, the themes of Pride and Prejudice remain relevant, reminding us of the enduring struggle between the dictates of the heart and the demands of society. Point 3. Darcy's failed proposal, Pride, Prejudice, and Accusations. In the heart of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, there's a scene that sends shockwaves through the narrative. It's the moment when Mr. Darcy, the wealthy and aloof gentleman, proposes to Elizabeth Bennet, our spirited and independent heroine. But this isn't your typical romantic proposal. It's a moment fraught with pride, prejudice, and accusations, and it's a turning point for both characters. Darcy's proposal comes out of the blue. He's been wrestling with his feelings for Elizabeth, torn between his attraction to her and his belief that she's beneath him socially. When he finally confesses his love, his words are laced with pride and prejudice. He talks about how he's tried to resist his feelings because of her lower social status, and he's surprised when she doesn't immediately accept his proposal. This proposal isn't just about Darcy's feelings for Elizabeth, it's a reflection of the broader themes of the novel. Elizabeth, for her part, is shocked and offended. She values sincerity, respect, and equality in relationships, and Darcy's proposal is lacking in all three. She's also been harboring resentment towards Darcy because of some misinformation about his past actions. So, she rejects his proposal, standing up for her values and showing her strength of character. But Elizabeth doesn't stop at rejecting Darcy. She accuses him of ruining her sister Jane's happiness by separating her from Mr. Bingley. She also accuses him of mistreating Mr. Wickham. These accusations are based on her own prejudices and misunderstandings, but they hit Darcy hard. Darcy is stunned by Elizabeth's rejection and her accusations. He's forced to confront his pride and prejudice, and this event serves as a wake-up call for him. He begins to question his behavior and attitudes, setting him on a path towards self-improvement. This scene is a pivotal moment in Pride and Prejudice. It's a clash of pride, prejudice, and misunderstanding, and it has lasting effects on both Darcy and Elizabeth. It forces Darcy to confront his flaws and sparks a change in him. For Elizabeth, it's a moment of standing up for her values and challenging the societal norms of her time. It's a scene that encapsulates the themes of the novel and drives the narrative forward. Point 4. Elizabeth's change of heart and a family scandal. In the world of Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Bennet's initial impressions of Mr. Darcy are far from favorable. She finds him proud, aloof, and arrogant, a man who looks down on her and her family because of their lower social status. This perception is further fueled by Mr. Wickham's tales of Darcy's alleged mistreatment of him. Elizabeth's dislike for Darcy is so strong that she rejects his first proposal, accusing him of not behaving in a gentlemanly manner. However, a visit to Pemberley, Mr. Darcy's grand estate, begins to change Elizabeth's mind. She is struck by the beauty of the place, the warmth of the housekeeper who speaks highly of Darcy, and most importantly, by Darcy's unexpected arrival and subsequent hospitality. He is polite, considerate, and genuinely interested in her well-being, a stark contrast to the man she thought she knew. This experience begins to chip away at her prejudice, making her question her initial judgments. Just as Elizabeth is grappling with her changing feelings, a family scandal erupts. Her youngest sister, Lydia, elopes with Mr. Wickham, threatening to ruin the family's reputation. In the society of the time, such a scandal could have serious consequences, not just for Lydia, but for all the Bennet sisters. Their chances of making good marriages could be severely compromised. This crisis adds a layer of complexity to the plot, creating tension and conflict. But it also serves as a catalyst for Mr. Darcy's intervention. He tracks down Lydia and Wickham, ensuring they marry to save the Bennet family from disgrace. This act of kindness, done without any expectation of gratitude or recognition, reveals a side of Darcy that Elizabeth had not seen before. It shows his deepening feelings for her and his willingness to go to great lengths to protect her and her family. The scandal also brings to light the true character of Mr. Wickham. His charm and good looks had initially won Elizabeth over, but his elopement with Lydia and subsequent behavior reveal his true nature. He is shown to be a man of poor character, driven by selfishness and greed. In conclusion, Elizabeth's change of heart and the family scandal are pivotal elements in the plot of Pride and Prejudice. They not only drive the narrative forward but also contribute to the development and transformation of the characters. They highlight the themes of pride, prejudice, love, and marriage, and underscore the importance of understanding and judgment in forming opinions about others. These elements, combined with Jane Austen's sharp wit and keen social observation, are part of what makes Pride and Prejudice a timeless classic. Point 5. How Mr. Darcy resolves the scandal. When Lydia Bennet, the youngest and most impulsive of the Bennet sisters, elopes with the charming but deceitful Mr. Wickham, it sends shockwaves through the Bennet family. The scandal threatens to ruin their reputation and chances of making good marriages. But who would have thought that the seemingly aloof and proud Mr. Darcy would step in to save the day? Mr. Darcy, who initially comes off as arrogant and unapproachable, takes it upon himself to resolve the scandal. He tracks down the runaway couple, pays off Mr. Wickham's debts, and ensures that they get married, thus saving the Bennet family from disgrace. This act of kindness reveals a side of Mr. Darcy that contrasts sharply with Elizabeth Bennet's initial impressions of him. It shows that beneath his pride, Mr. Darcy is a man of integrity and generosity. Elizabeth Bennet, our witty and vivacious heroine, initially harbors a strong prejudice against Mr. Darcy. However, his intervention in Lydia's scandal forces her to reassess her feelings. She begins to see the nobility in his character and realizes that her initial judgment was clouded by prejudice. This change in Elizabeth's feelings marks a significant turning point in their relationship. Meanwhile, Mr. Bingley, Mr. Darcy's good-natured friend, returns to Netherfield and finally proposes to Jane, the eldest Bennet sister. His decision to follow his heart, despite the objections of his sisters and Mr. Darcy, resolves his internal conflict and brings joy to the Bennet family. His proposal also strengthens his relationship with Jane, who has always loved him. Mr. Darcy, emboldened by the changes in Elizabeth's feelings towards him, makes a second proposal. This time, his approach is humble and sincere, a stark contrast to his first proposal, which was marred by pride and prejudice. Elizabeth, moved by his transformation, accepts his proposal, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship. The theme of transformation is central to Pride and Prejudice. The characters, particularly Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth, undergo significant changes in their attitudes and perceptions. These transformations not only resolve conflicts but also lead to the formation of new relationships. In conclusion, the scandal involving Lydia and Mr. Wickham serves as a catalyst for change in Pride and Prejudice. Mr. Darcy's intervention not only resolves the scandal but also leads to a transformation in his relationship with Elizabeth. Similarly, Mr. Bingley's proposal to Jane resolves his internal conflict and strengthens his relationship with her. These transformations highlight the enduring relevance of the themes of pride, prejudice, and transformation in our society. Point 6. Conclusion. In the intricate dance of society and manners, true love and understanding can often be obscured by first impressions and the pride and prejudice of the parties involved. It is only through overcoming these initial misconceptions and biases that one can truly see and appreciate the worth of another. In a world where wealth and social standing often dictate the course of relationships, it is essential to look beyond these superficial factors and recognize the inherent value and character of a person. Love, respect, and mutual understanding are the foundations of a lasting relationship, not wealth or social status. The journey to love and understanding is not always smooth, and it is often fraught with misunderstandings and misjudgments. However, it is through these trials and tribulations that one's true character is revealed and love is ultimately found. In the end, it is not the pride and prejudice of society that defines us, but our ability to rise above them and find true love and happiness. It is a timeless lesson that resonates as much today as it did in the era of Jane Austen.